Hello, hello. It is the one and only 5D Transformations, and I'm back. It's the one and only Guy Johnny. It's a beautiful, beautiful day, beautiful time to be here, and I'm happy to be back. Uh, so much transformation between the last few months. The winter time is always a transformative time for me, and this one feels really special. So I have so much to bring back to you, and so I'm ready to do it. Let's do it. So I've been doing a lot of MBTI videos. I'm gonna keep doing MBTI videos because I feel like that's one of the gifts that I got to give to the world, um, is that information. So you know, I want to touch on something interesting about MBTI, and I touch on this in the course that I have currently on the Patreon. You'll see it in the link below. Um, but it breaks down into the four elements. And, if you look at the four elements, you have fire, which connects with thinking. You have water, which connects with feeling. You have intuition, which connects with air. And then you have sensing, which connects with earth. And I can go deep, into why that's the case, but you can put it together. Just to quickly do it. When it comes to fire, why is that the thinking? Well, if you think of fire, fire operates in a linear way. It spreads, but it begins with one. And you like a candle. You can use one candle to burn another candle. It expands. When you think of fire, fire is the light in the mind. It's that candle that's lit in the mind. When you think of light, you think of an idea, right? When you think of a light bulb, that's what fire represents. And the more knowledge you gain, the more intelligent you become. And that's how fire is. The more it picks up, the faster it spreads. And then another thing that, to make it kind of simple, what's the counter to thinking? What is the thing that pairs with thinking? Well, you notice that thinking and feeling pair together, right? You feel a certain way about what you think, right? And then you got to think about the things that you're feeling. So they go hand in hand. So, what is the polar element to fire? It's going to be water, right? Because water, it connects with emotion, it connects with feeling, because feeling, it consumes, it's holistic, it's everything, right? Like when you think about things, you can think about completely different things. Like you can compartmentalize, you can think about a car, and then you can think about a cat. They're two separate things. Feeling is one emotion. You feel happy, you feel sad, you feel joy. It's not as, you don't decipher it as much or compartmentalize it as much. It's holistic. When you think of the ocean, it's one large body of water. You know, um, we could say each raindrop is different, but what's so unique about water is neutral. It's a 0 point. It's like the minute water blends into water, it just becomes one. You know what I mean? And it's so unique because when we look at ourselves as human beings, we are also different, right? We look different. You might look different than an animal, than a dog or whatever. But and so many things in the world, trees, cars, everything is so different. But when it comes to water, it's holistic. Everything has the same look. Everything is clear. You know what I mean? Its taste is bland. Like everything is clear. It's neutral. And so feeling operates like that. We all share feeling. Us humans, humans, animals, primates, orangutans, dogs, whatever. That like felines, it doesn't matter. We all experience emotion. We all have fight or flight, right? We all can experience happiness, sadness, whatever. It's the universal language. Emotion is the universal language. That's why body language is the number one way to decipher, uh, is the main communication. You could look at somebody and see where they are before you speak to them. Once you speak, you're just getting the details. So to bring it back in terms of its connection with fire, water puts out fire, right? If you have enough water, it will overpower the fire. Well, what happens when you're in an extremely negative mood? It's going to overpower your ability to think a lot of the time. You know, you could think, but when your emotions take over, when you experience trauma, or it could be very high emotions or very low emotions, they can really become over consuming. And then, so that's a big thing to factor in. But then you could also have passion. You can be excited. That water can drive you. So that's the two elements at play. Now let's talk about air and earth. Those are the two other elements. Why do I say air for intuition? I say air for intuition because your intuition is the idea realm. It's up here. It's, first of all, it starts in your head, right? That's the funny thing. But it's ideas. It's airy. You notice that ideas, they come and they go. They move around. Intuition, seeing where things are going, which means you're moving forward, you're flowing. You know what I mean? And it's very similar to the clouds in the sky, right? When you think of the earth on the ground, it's very solid. You could put 2 feet on it, right? But when you notice that as you go higher up the atmosphere, it becomes less and less dense. Um, it might become more dense. I don't know the details of that, but I more so mean in the sense of uh, it's open space, it's open air. You know what I mean? You can go into the clouds. You notice they just float and they're always moving. Where Earth can, I mean, where the ground can be very constant. If you look up in the sky, there's always motion. It's always moving. The clouds are steadily moving. You know, and it's airy. It's not as solid. It disappears. Things move around, and that's how our ideas are. You can maybe hold the image for a little while and then it disappears. So that lets you know that these ideas that we're generating, they pop up in our mind, and our intuitions happen to let us know where things are going, and then they float away. You know what I mean? So we're dealing with the power of air. When you're summoning an idea in your mind, you're dealing with more of an airy type of element. You can't touch the idea, you can't hold it, you can't drive your idea until it manifests into the physical. So then, what is the physical? The physical is the sensory. That's what we could taste, touch. So this is how it tends to work for people. You get the idea, oh, I'm hungry. Then you start to think with the fire. And then you start to, how do I feel? You tap into that water. And then your idea is trying to figure out, do I want this? Do I want that? Do I want that? You might get the symbolism of a certain restaurant and be like, I don't feel like eating that. You might look at sushi. Then I might say pho. And you say spaghetti, whatever. And then when you get the one you like, there'll be a feeling there, but your intuition will capture the image. And then you'll call the place, and now it starts to come into your sensory experience, you know? And your sensory goes hand in hand with the intuition, because everything that you're thinking in your mind, your sensory is saying, oh, am I getting a taste for that? Do I feel like tasting that? You know what I mean? Or if you want to hang out and have fun, do I feel like playing that? Do I feel like doing this? So as you can see, there's this natural relationship between your intuition and your sensory world. And that goes on with the air and the ground, right? I mean, the earth, essentially, the earth element. So when we talk about this, I mean, this is very powerful, because people look at MBTI as this, it's just this little pop psychology thing, but it's a very spiritual. It's what I love about MBTI is that it's a spiritual science, but it's also very much very practical. You know, it's very real. Like, you can use it for very practical things. You can use it in the business world. You can use it to be more efficient, more effective. And it gives you a lot of self realization, so that you can be more effective for other people and be more effective in your life. And so I think it's very important to, touch on that element. And what you'll find is there's a natural balance. And I guess what I'll say is very key in this video is one of the most fascinating things that I've been pondering on, and that really was one of the early things that I was really tapping into when it came to the journey I've been on, is the amazing balance of everything we have on this planet. It's a superb balance. And as I mature and get older every day, every month, every year, I see more and more how much balance is what this whole thing is about. And to the degree that you can embrace balance, is to the degree that you'll have um, an amazing experience on this planet. And to the degree that you don't respect the principle of balance, is to the degree that you'll experience difficulties. And balance isn't 50-50. Balance, there's a rhythm. You have the law of rhythm. So balance will go from, the balance might be 70-30 for a long time, and then needs to switch over to the other side having 70 and you having 30 for maybe a short period of time. Then it will go back to you having it for a long time, and then this for a short time. It's very much understanding the ebbs and flows, right? If you have too much water, you'll drown. If you have too much fire, you'll burn. Uh, think about when you wash your hands, you're looking for that nice warm balance between hot and cold. And even when you look at men and women, that's what I love about masculine and feminine energy, the law of gender, um, and understanding there's even a divine balance with that. You know, uh, it takes a man and woman coming together in the act of love to create a child. So that already lets you know, if the highest act of mankind is the ability to produce a child, according to some people's beliefs, like, having a child at the very minimum is a very amazing thing. And to do that, it requires this divine balance of two different genders being in the act of love, in order to birth. So that lets you know everything you need to know. There's a sun and a moon. You know, uh, this is the world we live in, and when you understand that, um, it allows you to be the creator of your experience. You get to be creative. You know what I mean? You might be like, "Look, I've been doing this for a long time. I want to blend into my other side." You might be a really quiet, passive person, and it's like, "All right, it's time for me to tap into being more social." You might be somebody that's social all the time, talk, talk, talk. You might need to practice the art of relaxing a little bit. You might be somebody who doesn't care about money. "Oh, I don't care about money. I can't stand it." Well, maybe it's time for you to learn about money, because if you don't tap into that element, you're going to be too imbalanced. You're going to deal with a lot of difficulties. Let's say you're somebody that has a lot of money. It's always about money, always about money. You might need to take a seat back and realize that there's other things out there that are important. So, this is the gem I'm going to give you right here when it comes to productivity and manifesting in your life. Um, what you want to do is look at an area in life that you want to manifest in. It can be it can be anything. It can be love, relationships, wealth, health, um, friendships, whatever you want to do. And I want you to think of something that you want. And then I want you to think, what have I been doing right now that has me in a position where I don't have that thing that I want? And once you figure out what that is, I want you to now think, what is the opposite? What is the opposite of what I'm doing now? That would get me to where I want to go. And once you figure out what that opposite is, I want you to practice going in that direction, because that's going to be your balance when you're able to start to put in that work. And we all see it. It could be with working out. You never want to work out. But in this case, I want you to look at it. It could be anything. That working out is more of a typical goal, still very important nonetheless. So you could use that example. But think about that. Something that you've been having a hard time manifesting that you really want to manifest, and look at, what am I doing now, and what is the opposite of this? Like, what is the person that's doing the opposite of what I'm doing? And then that's probably going to point you to what you need to do in order to take wherever you want to take to the next level. So that's my message for you. I hope you got some gems from this. I'm going to be dropping some very fire videos. And I appreciate everybody for listening. It's one and only 5D Transformations, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.